Fishing has always been my favorite way to spend a quiet morning.
This is a violation of HOA Rule 40B. You cannot fish in this community without a permit. I'm calling the board. Put that rod down right now.
Karen was the HOA president and loved enforcing every rule she could find. That morning, she spotted me carrying my fishing gear toward the dock. Instead of saying hello, she immediately started shouting. She claimed I was breaking HOA rules. I asked her which rule I was violating. She couldn't give me a clear answer. I reminded her that fishing was allowed under the community's published guidelines. Karen didn't seem interested in discussing the actual rules. Instead, Karen pulled out her phone. She told me she was calling wildlife officers to have me removed. I honestly thought she was bluffing. Then I heard her describing me as a dangerous repeat offender. I kept fishing while she made the call. I wasn't worried because I knew I had done nothing wrong. My license was valid, and I was following the lake's regulations. But Karen was convinced the officers would automatically take her side. I checked my license one more time just to be certain. Everything was current and properly documented. I even had the day's fishing regulations saved on my phone. There was nothing Karen could legitimately use against me. Karen kept pacing along the shore. Every few seconds, she pointed toward me, like I was some kind of criminal. She told the dispatcher that I was refusing to cooperate. In reality, I had simply refused to stop fishing without a valid reason. I decided there was no point arguing with her. So I sat down and waited. If wildlife officers wanted to check my license, they could. I knew the truth would speak for itself. About 20 minutes later, a wildlife enforcement SUV arrived. 2 officers stepped out and walked toward the dock. Karen immediately rushed over to meet them. She looked like she had already won the case. The second officer joined Daniel at the shoreline. Karen began explaining everything at once. She pointed toward me and described my fishing as a serious violation. The officers listened quietly. Daniel asked Karen exactly which wildlife regulation I had violated. She started talking about HOA rules instead. He asked again about the fishing regulations. That was when her confidence started slipping. Karen showed them her HOA documents. Daniel looked through them carefully. Then he explained that HOA rules were different from state wildlife regulations. Karen clearly didn't like that answer. Daniel walked over and asked to see my license. I handed it to him without hesitation. He checked the information carefully. Then he asked me about the fish I had caught. I showed Daniel the fish I had kept. They were within the legal size and quantity limits. I had also followed the required handling rules. Everything checked out. Daniel checked the fish carefully. Then he looked at the equipment and the license again. He found no violation. Karen was visibly becoming more frustrated. Karen pointed toward a nearby HOA sign. She insisted that it proved I wasn't allowed to fish there. Daniel read the sign carefully. Then he explained what it actually meant. The sign applied to certain community restrictions. It didn't override the state's fishing regulations. And more importantly, it didn't give Karen authority to have someone arrested. The entire situation was becoming embarrassing for her. Karen still wasn't satisfied. She claimed I had been warned before. Daniel asked when and where that warning happened. Karen couldn't provide any official documentation. Daniel checked the current regulations himself. Mike reviewed the information on his side. They both reached the same conclusion. I was legally fishing. Daniel handed my license back to me. Then he said the words Karen never expected to hear. There's no violation here. Karen just stared at him.